Now at 6 on Spectrum News on ABC 45. High Point police looking for a man after one shot was fired near High Point Central this afternoon. We are live from the scene with the latest. Plus,
several school districts had a late start Monday following this weekend's snow. I'm Roman Belogan, and up next, I'll explain why one district is apologizing for Friday's dismissal.
Also, time is running out to sign up for health insurance under the Affordable Care Act. What you need to know before the deadline. Good evening, I'm Kristen Drummond. Rob Wu has the day off. We have more on those stories in just a minute, but first, we begin with a developing story. High Point police are searching for this man after a shot was fired near High Point Central this afternoon. The high school and Ferndale Middle were put on lockdown for a couple of hours after it happened. Spectrum News reporter Nana Senyu-Bonsu is at the school. And Nana, a scary afternoon for not only students, but parents.
Yes, for parents too. Students are now out of High Point Central High School after being on lockdown for almost 2 hours, but they were released at normal dismissal time around 3:50 in the afternoon. Now, I was able to speak to some students who were actually coming out when they were dismissed. A lot of them tell me they were scared. Some didn't know what was going on. All they know is that their teachers had them hiding up against the wall. Now, this was the scene earlier when parents were here. They were frightened. There were some tears. I even spoke to one mother who tells me that she was with her younger son, but she was concerned because her older son was still inside the school during the lockdown.
It could have possibly been my son that was hurt because the police wasn't giving out no information. The school wasn't giving us no information. So I had no clue if it was my child that was in there shot or if it was my child at the hospital fighting for his life. I didn't know nothing. And until I saw my babies, I wasn't going to be happy. But I got them both now, and that's all that matters.
Now, all after-school activities here at High Point Central High School have been canceled. High Point police say they have identified the shooter, but they are not releasing his name at this moment. Reporting in High Point, Nana Senyu-Bonsu, ABC 45.
Well, definitely very scary for many parents as well as students out there. Thank you so much, Nana. Well, before things heated up at High Point Central this afternoon, many in the Triad were just trying to stay warm following cooler temperatures. Meteorologist Monty Montello is here with a first check of your weather. Monty.
Yeah, cold start again this morning. We had a nice jump in the highs today, back into the low 50s, about 15 degrees warmer here today than our cold, snowy weekend. Now we have cooled back down into the 40s. But a light southwesterly wind tonight going to hold those overnight temperatures up a bit. So instead of the low to mid 20s, low to mid 30s, we should stay actually at or a little above freezing in most spots. Some clouds working in later tonight. Got another Arctic front, though, coming in tomorrow. That brings a big blast of cold air for Wednesday. Details on that, plus your 7-day forecast coming up here a little later in the show. Back to you.
Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools operating on a 2-hour delay today. School officials say there were concerns about black ice and snow left over from this weekend's winter weather melting, then refreezing overnight. The school system's chief operating officer says there are a number of factors to consider before making the call.
Road temperatures, we look at what the weather was the day before, how much thaw and how much runoff we have, what the potential is for black ice the next morning. We also consider the temperatures, what that has impact on our buses.
Laughlin says the 2-hour delay also allows drivers to be on the road when there's daylight. Surrey and Stokes County schools also operated on a 2-hour delay. At least one school district in our area is apologizing to parents for the late dismissal last Friday when winter weather made roads difficult for drivers. School leaders tell Spectrum News reporter Rowan Belogan the snow came so fast it was hard to move forward.
And I understand that many of you are frustrated with me this evening.
In a video posted on Facebook, Stokes County Superintendent Dr. Brad Rice apologizes to parents for a decision he made Friday.
I made a mistake today that put many of your children and you at risk, and for that I'm extremely sorry.
No one understands this, I believe, but I look at our 5,900 students the same way I do as my own 3 personal children.
Dr. Rice believes he put all of their lives on the line Friday. Throughout the day, he kept his eyes glued to all forecasters,
AccuWeather, the weather bug,
waiting for a moment to decide if he should let students out before the snow came. But by the time he made that decision, there was snow on the ground.
There were some buses that slipped off the edge of the road or were stuck in the middle of a road.
Rice knows for sure that 2 high school students that drove home did get into an accident.
At the end of the day, that I'm sorry for what happened.
And he's not the only one apologizing. Guilford County schools were in a similar position. They did not call for schools to let out until 3 o'clock once a snowstorm warning was issued.
We had 5 bus accidents. Now 4 of those were cars hitting our buses.
The other accident involving a bus sliding off the road and into a ditch. The bus now won't likely be used in the future.
The safety and welfare of all of our students is our utmost important.
Like Stokes County, Guilford County school officials say the snow fell fast and at a time where it was too late to close schools.
So we have to know pretty early. We have to notify bus drivers. We have to notify our parents.
Moving forward, both districts say they will notify parents sooner about how and why they make the decisions they do.
I'm going to learn from this situation, and we'll use this as we make future decisions.
In the Piedmont Triad, Rowan Belogan, Spectrum News.
Guilford County school officials tell us that 3 of their students were sent to the hospital with minor injuries. Winston-Salem police are investigating a fatal shooting. Police responding to shots fired at the Hook Social Fish Arcade on Kernersville Road just after 4 this morning. That's where they found 53-year-old Albert Haskins Jr. shot dead inside, and another man was also found shot inside. He was taken to the hospital where he's currently listed in critical condition. Haskins' death marks the 23rd homicide in Winston-Salem so far this year. Anyone with information about this shooting is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 336-773-7700. Thomasville police say a street race led to the death of a 16-year-old boy. Investigators say it happened just after 1 yesterday morning. 2 cars were racing on Randolph Street. One of the vehicles crashed. The other left the area. Police say there were 3 teens and a 21-year-old inside the crashed car. 16-year-old Marco Escamilla died at the scene. The other 3 were treated and released from the hospital. Officers say alcohol did play a factor in the crash. High Point police arrest 2 men for a string of nail salon robberies spanning across 3 cities. 29-year-old Cameron Nguyen and 31-year-old Fong Nguyen were arrested during a traffic stop around 10:30 last night. Officials say the pair broke in and stole money and equipment from nearly a dozen nail salons in High Point, Archdale, Asheboro, and Forsyth County since November 28th. Both men are in jail under a $1 million bond. In the past month, 6 people have been arrested in Davidson County on animal abuse charges, 1 family of 4 and another couple. Now, in response, 1 woman started a petition drive to push for the highest levels of punishment for the suspects. Spectrum News reporter Julie Frandak has more on this petition that's gaining more traction than this woman thought possible.
Ralphie was a street find. Macy was a flea market dog.
Angie Allred is a self-proclaimed animal lover, dedicated to saving as many as possible.
I devoted a whole while to them because they deserve it.
Recent cases of animal abuse and neglect in Davidson County are fueling Allred's current mission to get justice for these animals.
Human kindness should extend for more than, just the other humans around you. It should be for all living things.
Last month, 3 dogs were found extremely emaciated at this home in Lexington. 2 were saved, but 1, named Tank, had to be put down.
So when I saw Tank's story on the news, it was just the icing on the cake.
Allred started a petition called Justice for Tank. She's asking the Davidson County DA's office to prosecute the suspects to the highest extent of the law.
We need to show people this is not going to be allowed. This horrible, malicious, horrific abuse is not going to be tolerated in our county.
Her initial goal was 500 signatures, but 3 weeks later,
we have over 9,460 so far today.
She says it's a cry for help on behalf of these abused animals, setting a precedent so this kind of treatment of animals doesn't become the norm.
That we will show people in Davidson County we do not condone this, we do not agree with it. That if you do this to an animal, this is what's going to happen.
The owners of the dogs, Rain and Wesley Stevenson, are facing felony cruelty to animal charges.
The Class H felony can carry up to 3 years imprisonment, I believe.
Davidson County currently has a 5-officer animal control force that answers close to 30 calls per day.
So we're always surprised ourselves when we see the condition these animals are in.
Surprises that All Red hopes will stop once the petition is delivered.
We're tired of it, and we're just not going to tolerate it.
In Davidson County, Julie Frendak, Spectrum News.
The couple charged will be in court. All Red plans to deliver the petition to the DA's office before January 8th. Now, a roadway project intended to keep cars moving is delaying traffic from getting to some Greensboro stores. Spectrum News reporter Katie Husband shows us the problem that's creating issues for nearby business owners on Battleground Avenue.
Intersection improvements at Battleground Avenue and Cone Boulevard started in April.
They have been working to move the curb and gutter back and create an additional lane for turning and improving the intersection flow, as well as some sidewalk.
But the work has caused some headaches for neighboring business, All Pets Considered.
Such a nuisance for our customers.
Allison Schwartz is the store's manager. She tells us this construction equipment is always parked in the way, causing delays getting in and out of their lot.
We've actually asked our own employees to carpool to work or to be dropped off at work to avoid having their cars in the parking lot. They park behind our building. If we have any kind of rescue events going on, any partners with that are parking in another satellite parking.
Monday, paving and milling work was scheduled to begin.
But if you take a look behind me, the machines have stopped. The paving and milling work isn't happening until next year. Crews need temperatures 42 degrees and rising for that work to happen, causing even more headaches for drivers and small businesses along this stretch of Battleground Avenue.
Within a radius that's listed on our website, we will deliver for free. So if that helps the customer out so they don't have to come out and get in the traffic, we're happy to do that for them. We also will do curbside service.
King says a mix of snow, cold temperatures, and the holiday season forced the decision to hold off until 2018, hopefully opening up some parking spots.
I would like to think that that means they're going to move everything out of our parking lot and kind of stay out of our way and allow our customers to come and go. And if that gives us more freedom for our customers to be able to come and go until after the holidays, that would really help us.
Construction crews want you to be extra cautious around that area as you continue your holiday shopping. In Greensboro, Katie Husband, Spectrum News.
The work was scheduled to be done by the end of this year. The milling and paving work just depends on the weather. When we come back,
unfortunately this year, if you haven't signed up by December 15th, you will have to go without health insurance.
Time is running out to sign up for coverage under the Affordable Care Act. We'll tell you how to get assistance.
Did you put up flyers?
Excuse me, how much for this,
Death ray. It's $1 billion.
What?
I'm never going to make enough to cover these early termination fees for satellite. They make you sign a contract, so you got to pay hundreds of dollars just to get out of it. They don't even remove the dish.
Ridiculous.
I'll give you $4.
Put it in the jar.
I would pay twice as much for that. That was me trying to get her into a bidding war.
Termination fees are evil.
Yeah, I can use that.
Spectrum doesn't have them. Satellite TV, bad. Spectrum, good.
5 minutes a night
just doesn't cut it.
That's why Chevrolet Sports Night is on for a full half hour every night on Spectrum News.
Get intense with it.
Get more scores, more highlights, more interviews.
It's just a matter of time.
More coverage of your favorite high school, college, and professional teams. And more time to focus on your local teams. Watch Chevrolet Sports Night, nightly at 10 on Spectrum News. Exclusively on Spectrum. You're watching Spectrum News on ABC 45. Get your Spectrum News anytime. Call today.
Time is running out for people looking to sign up for coverage under the Affordable Care Act. If you want or need to sign up, you have until this Friday, December 15th. Spectrum News reporter Amy Elliott spoke with a coverage navigator to learn just how many people are looking for their help.
So we're going to enroll.
The December 15th deadline is looming for customers looking to sign up for Affordable Care Act coverage.
We are very busy. We do have enrollment opportunities across the state of North Carolina, but they are going really fast because people are taking action. They know this is their last chance to get coverage for 2018.
Customers have had a shorter enrollment period this year, going from 90 days to roughly 45 days. Simmons says it's too early to decipher whether the sign-up period has been a success so far.
If you go and look at the federal data, it's really hard to compare last year to this year because last year they were putting out the numbers every 2 weeks. This year they're putting it out weekly.
The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services shows in North Carolina in 2016 more than 360,000 people had signed up by week 6 of enrollment. This year's most current numbers for week 5 shows just over 209,000 signups.
I will tell you, people seem more urgent this year than ever before. In prior years, they might have come and then left saying, gosh, let me think about this. I'll go home and sleep on it. This year, people are coming up. They say they want to get it taken care of and make sure they have it in place. So people are leaving with coverage in place.
Those who've waited until this week to sign up may have to battle some long lines in order to get a navigator for assistance. However, Simmons says it's worth the patience in order to get the coverage.
This year, December 15th is the firm deadline. If somebody calls us on December 16th, we're going to have to say, I'm really sorry, you can't have coverage unless something happens until 2019.
But there's still time to hear these words.
Your health insurance card, and then you're all set.
And have medical coverage for the coming year. In Raleigh, Amy Elliott, Spectrum News.
For more information on meeting with a navigator, you can visit ncnavigator.net. Well, don't go away. Your sports is next on Spectrum News on ABC 45. Also, an update on the New York explosion that left at least 3 people hurt. That's next.
Did you put up flyers?
Excuse me, how much for this,
Death ray. It's $1 billion.
what?
I'm never going to make enough to cover these early termination fees for satellite. They make you sign a contract, so you got to pay hundreds of dollars just to get out of it. They don't even remove the dish.
Ridiculous.
I'll give you $4.
Put it in the jar.
I would pay twice as much for that. That was me trying to get her into a bidding war.
Termination fees are evil.
Yeah, I can use that.
Spectrum doesn't have them. Satellite TV, bad. Spectrum, good.
5 minutes a night
Just doesn't cut it.
That's why Chevrolet Sports Night is on for a full half hour every night on Spectrum News.
Get intense with it.
Get more scores, more highlights, more interviews.
It's just a matter of time.
More coverage of your favorite high school, college, and professional teams. And more time to focus on your local teams. Watch Chevrolet Sports Night, nightly at 10 on Spectrum News. Exclusively on Spectrum. You're watching Spectrum News on ABC 45. Get your Spectrum News anytime. Call today.
Here is Mike Solarte with today's sports.
A Thursday night New Orleans Saints loss coupled with a Panthers Sunday victory over Minnesota, and suddenly the NFC South is kind of tied up. The Saints are still the first place team over Carolina thanks to their head-to-head tiebreaker in the 2 meetings. Now the Panthers snapped Minnesota's 8-game win streak thanks to a late fourth quarter drive. Cam Newton doing the heavy lifting, a 62-yard run to the Minnesota 8-yard line. Jonathan Stewart would do the rest, scoring his 3rd touchdown of the game. Carolina's 31-24 win over the Vikings, a complete team victory. Head coach Ron Rivera pleased with most of it.
You know, we came out, we got a takeaway, we put points on the board right away. Then we got another opportunity after they scored, and we put points on the board again. We responded to their making plays. Defensively, really liked the attitude going out onto the field, especially in the red zone. Again, it's one of those things where, you know, especially on the last chance they had after the turnover, the way they handled sudden change, forcing the field goal. That was huge.
Wake Forest and Texas A&M will meet in the Belk Bowl on December the 29th inside Bank of America Stadium. The bowl hosting Demon Deacons head coach Dave Clawson and the trophy on Monday. Now, the Deacs went 7-5 overall, 4-4 in ACC play, and now with a short trip to Charlotte on tap, head coach Clawson wants fans to fill up their tanks and make their way to Bank of America Stadium.
This is an hour and a half, 2 hours from our campus. We have a large number of alums and fans that are in this area, and they need to know that one of the reasons that we got invited to this bowl is there's certainly an expectation that we're going to bring a lot of fans here.
We'll have much more for the Deacs at 11 o'clock. That's your look at sports at 6.
Thanks, Mike. Well, a group of women who publicly accused President Donald Trump of sexual assault and harassment are now demanding he should be investigated along with other lawmakers facing similar accusations. The women held a news conference this morning detailing their accounts of being groped, fondled, and forcibly kissed by the then businessman. They've made their accounts public before, but now they're demanding a congressional investigation.
I am hoping that this will come forward and produce enough pressure on Congress to address it, more than just for their own members, but to address it in the president.
They've investigated other Congress members, so I think it only stands fair that he be investigated as well.
At least 13 women have come forward with accusations against President Trump before he took office. 3 people injured in what authorities are calling an attempted terrorist attack this morning in New York City. That explosion sparking chaos in one of the busiest commuter hubs in the city. David Daniel reports on the latest.
Chaos and confusion during the Monday morning commute in Manhattan. An explosion in an underground walkway at the Port Authority bus terminal near Times Square, rocking a city already on edge. Officials say 27-year-old Ekhayat Ullah intentionally detonated a homemade pipe bomb that was strapped to his body using Velcro and zip ties.
Preliminary investigation at the scene indicates this male was wearing an improvised, low-tech explosive device attached to his body.
3 people were treated at the hospital for minor injuries. Authorities say Ullah is being treated for lacerations and burns to his hands and stomach. A law enforcement source says Ullah told investigators that he was motivated by recent Israeli actions in Gaza. Officials say he is a former taxi driver of Bangladeshi descent who lives in Brooklyn. They also say it's unclear whether the suspect is linked to any terror organization like ISIS or was perhaps inspired by one.
It was a person who was living in New York for several years, driving a car service, a cab, was disgruntled, apparently went to the internet and downloaded information as to how to make a homemade bomb.
Authorities expressing some relief, saying the situation could have been a lot worse.
This was an attempted terrorist attack. Thank God the perpetrator did not achieve his ultimate goals.
I'm David Daniel reporting.
When we come back, we'll have an update on the economy in today's market report.
We did enjoy a little milder weather here on this Monday, but by later tomorrow, another blast of Arctic air comes in. That sets up a very cold Wednesday. Details on that plus your 7-day forecast coming up right after this break.
Did you put up flyers?
Excuse me, how much for this,
Death ray. It's $1 billion.
what?
I'm never going to make enough to cover these early termination fees for satellite. They make you sign a contract, so you got to pay hundreds of dollars just to get out of it. They don't even remove the dish.
Ridiculous.
I'll give you $4.
Put it in the jar.
I would pay twice as much for that. That was me trying to get her into a bidding war.
Termination fees are evil.
Yeah, I can use that.
Spectrum doesn't have them. Satellite TV, bad. Spectrum, good.
5 minutes a night
Just doesn't cut it.
That's why Chevrolet Sports Night is on for a full half hour every night on Spectrum News.
Get intense with it.
Get more scores, more highlights, more interviews.
It's just a matter of time.
More coverage of your favorite high school, college, and professional teams. And more time to focus on your local teams. Watch Chevrolet Sports Night, nightly at 10 on Spectrum News. Exclusively on Spectrum. You're watching Spectrum News on ABC 45. Get your Spectrum News anytime. Call today.
Let's head over to Monty for a look at our forecast in Monty. The sun was out today, which was beautiful, but still chilly temperatures, and you're telling me it's only going to get colder?
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon we got an Arctic front that'll come through and bring in a very cold Wednesday. By the morning Wednesday, we're talking temperatures down to around 20, maybe even some teens in outlying areas. And if that verifies, that'll be the coldest morning so far here in this late fall campaign. It technically isn't winter quite yet. Got a few days here before we flip the calendar officially into the winter season. 45 right now in Winston-Salem, 46 Lexington, 44 in Greensboro. Temperature at 44 in Asheboro, 40 Siler City. And across the board here, generally running in the mid-40s right now across the Tar Heel State, even up in the mountains, not too bad, 41 in Boone, 44 in Asheville. But we are running, even at this hour, some 5 to 10, even 12 to 14 degrees above normal, or above where we were at the same time yesterday. This is the 24-hour temperature change, so it was certainly more mild for today. In fact, highs getting back into the low 50s, which is just about normal for this time of year. So a nice jump in the temperatures compared to the very cold, snowy weekend. Now for tonight and tomorrow, overall things are looking pretty good for us here. It'll be more mild tonight thanks to some southwesterly winds, only expecting lows in the 30s tonight. But there's a front back through the Tennessee, Mississippi, and Ohio River valleys. That will be coming on in here tomorrow by early afternoon. We'll top out tomorrow around 48. Still going to be a pretty decent day, all things considered. We will add some clouds to the forecast for tomorrow, but that front will blast in here by late afternoon into the evening. The winds will be picking up, and by this time tomorrow, that cold air plunging on in. Now, we won't see any rain, snow, or ice here. The mountains could pick up a little. In fact, maybe 1 to 3 inches of additional snow up there in the high country. We've seen about an inch of liquid precip here so far in the month of December. Again, that front comes through dry for us. Very cold temperatures on Wednesday. Factor in the wind, it'll likely feel like the 20s much of the day, with the highs topping out in the mid-30s. A little warmer for us Thursday, Friday, but all in all, temperatures are going to stay below average here, it looks like, right on through this upcoming weekend. Again, it's really the higher elevations of the mountains that we'll be seeing some of that increased snowfall here later tonight, through the day tomorrow and early Wednesday. Winter weather advisory posted again, maybe 1 to 3 in the mountains of North Carolina. 35 for tonight. Partly cloudy skies, not too bad tomorrow, 48. Running a little on the cool side. A cold day Wednesday, high only 37. Warming back up a little Thursday, Friday, but all in all, again, staying chilly with highs in the 40s into early this weekend. The overnight lows will remain quite cold as well. Next chance for rain later Sunday, a little milder. By early next week, I think on Monday we'll be at 56. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Monty. Let's get the latest on the economy in today's market report.
Strong hiring numbers last month helped send the Dow and S&P to record highs in the Monday session. I'm Matt McClure with the market wrap-up. At the closing bell, the Dow was up 56 to end at 24,386. The Nasdaq jumped 35, S&P 500 up 8. Well, job openings around the country slipped in October. Employers across the United States posting slightly fewer jobs compared to the month before. The Labor Department, though, says that the number of people being hired jumped. Nearly 6 million jobs were available at the end of October. That's down slightly from September. Manufacturers, retailers, wholesalers, and information sector jobs all posting fewer openings there. The total number of employees hired, though, jumped by more than 4% to more than 5.5 million. Well, meantime, JCPenney says it's partnering with online styling service Bombfell to launch a styling service for big and tall men. The retailer has launched a new website where shoppers can take a quiz that will help determine their fit and style preferences. The store will then ship customers some stylist picks, and anything that they don't want, they send back. There's a $20 stylist fee when you make a purchase, though. The average price of each item is around $40. And Siri, what song is this? If you've ever asked that question to your phone, the result has come from a music recognition app Apple uses called Shazam. Well, now Apple says it's bought Shazam for an undisclosed price. Tech website Recode previously reported Apple would pay about $400 million for the app. In a statement, Apple says Shazam is a, quote, natural fit with its devices. There's no word on whether the Shazam standalone app will still be available after the deal is finalized. That's the market wrap-up. I'm Matt McClure.
Tonight on Spectrum News on ABC 45, the latest on the gunshot fired in High Point by a school that put 2 nearby schools on lockdown, and the search for that person. We'll have more details on this developing story tonight at 11. ABC World News Tonight with David Muir is next. We'll be back here at 11 on ABC 45, but you can find us anytime on Spectrum News and SpectrumLocalNews.com. Thanks for staying with us. We'll see you later.